What's up, guys? So today I'm shooting a heap of content for BJJ athletes and fighters. Now, one of the things that happens a lot in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is your hip flexors get absolutely smoked, right? When you're playing guard, your hips are getting pulled on, you got a body on there, you're defending, your knee shielding, you're doing all this stuff. Your hip flexors get absolutely cooked. They actually get really strong as well. Some of the jits athletes that I work with have really, really strong hip flexors. Usually they're in balance. One side's stronger than the other, which I spoke about in another video, but it's super common to have all these left to right imbalances because of the nature of the sport. If you favor one side more so than the other, you're gonna have imbalances because you're training that same side. It might be hours and hours and hours throughout the year. So your right might be stronger than your left. And that's gonna be normal, and you can't really fix it, but you can mitigate the risk of it getting worse by training opposing muscles and training unilaterally. So one of the things that I like to throw in for my fighters, for myself, for my jiu-jitsu athletes, is reverse lunges. I do it with every single client that I've got. I prefer reverse lunges over forward lunges because it hits the glutes more. A lot of people have weaker glutes than they do, say, quads and hips and stuff, because we're always sitting in, whether it's sitting on the couch, playing guard, it's all the same position, playing Xbox. Our hip flexors are shortened. We need to strengthen the glutes so we can end up strengthening and standing up nice and tall, getting good hip extension, having a good balance of that hip capsule, I suppose. Now, with the reverse lunge, the reason you feel your glute a little bit more, it's to do with what the shin's doing. So as I step in here, and with these reverse lunges, you can do them with anything. I get people starting with kettlebells, one kettlebell even. I use a safety bar at the moment. I'm going a bit heavier with them. I prefer the safety bar to a straight bar because it takes pressure off my shoulders and elbows. It's just not necessary for me. So I'm gonna do it on the safety bar for this demo, but racking in, I'm gonna lock my lats in nice and tight, chest is up. As I step back, so I'm gonna step back with my left foot, I'm gonna focus on bending my back knee to the ground, and that big lunge backwards, straight down, and then drive up off that leg. So you see me step right in, and I push the force through that right leg, which hits that glute. Hits my quads, hits my hamstrings as well, but that reverse lunge helps me hit my glute. Now, if I want a little bit more glute in there, I can step back further. So the further I step, without losing balance, there's more glute activation than there is quad, because I'm stepping in, there's less angle here. The shin's pretty much vertical, and then I'm almost pulling myself back in with that. If I step back a little bit, you'll see my knee go right over my toe. That's gonna hit my quad a bit more, right? There's nothing wrong with doing either of those. I prefer, for majority of people, is to step back further because it hits the glute harder, which is where usually people are weaker. So if you're a fighter, if you do jiu-jitsu, if you do MMA, if you do anything, boxing, Muay Thai, you're stepping in, you got one side, you're pulling up like that a lot, that hip might be a strong hip. If you're kicking high roundhouses, that oblique, this part of your hip here might be stronger than that side. So you need to make sure you're sort of training that. When you're doing strength training, you're not just sort of making your imbalances worse by training more imbalances into your body. So some people, like I'll get a jiu-jitsu guy doing a squat and they'll shift all their weight to one side, like that, because their right side is stronger than their left. So for them, I'm better off getting them lunging, and they're getting left to right. They have to use the work on that leg. Like them doing a pistol squat or something like that. But the unilateral effect over time, it really adds up and helps correct some of those imbalances that are going on. So when you're training, don't think because that guy's doing a squat, that guy's doing a deadlift, that you have to too. Not everybody's bodies are built the same. Not everybody's bodies are trained in a way that makes those movements safe if they're really heavy. I'm not saying don't squat, don't deadlift. Find the variations that work for you. For a lot of people who do a fighting sport, doing the unilateral stuff, you'll just get more bang for buck, more injury prevention or reduction, I would call it, over time. And you'll find that you'll start to feel a little bit better. When you start to balance up a little bit more, you unlock new movement patterns, right? So if you start to notice your left side's really tight, really weak, just try strengthening it. What you'll notice is that your hips just open up a little bit better. You'll be able to be a little quicker off the bottom. If you're in a scramble, you'll be able to get to your feet a little faster because you're just moving better. Like your actual movement patterns are just more fluent and more controlled, and just have more stability throughout, right? Stability, mobility, all of the stuff that you need to just move as an athlete in the best possible form you can. Now, I hope that helps, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up. If you're interested in any of the Jacked and Dangerous programs or online training or jumping in with us at Royal, just shoot me a message and we'll work something out. But I hope that helps, guys. Start training unilaterally if you're a fighter, because it will help you massively. Now, I'm not saying don't do squats and deads just as a finisher there, but make sure you're not avoiding your unilateral work and you are actually trying to progress those imbalances that you may have. Hope that helps, guys. Talk to you soon.